folks? Welcome to Mornings with the Focus. Wilson Torpe Jr. Um, Happy to be back this morning. I got a little bit to get through. You guys know how this goes. I got a few scripted topics and whatnot. After that, it's kind of up to you guys. But not even after that. I got a few scripted topics to get through. You guys are more than welcome. Hit the comment section. Share your thoughts. Steer the conversation wherever you might want it to go. Or, just to converse back and forth, that is more than welcome as well. Guess where do we want to get started this morning? Good old PFF. They had a graphic this weekend, which they've been trending, some good, some bad. I want to share this tweet with you guys. They went ahead and ranked the top 6 play callers in the NFL. This is courtesy of Eric Eager. Let me get this before we start. What's going on, Brandon? Appreciate you tuning in this morning, man. Like I was just saying, anything specific you want to talk about, if you just want to chime in, man, do what you just did. Hit the comment section. Truly appreciate it. PFF this weekend. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen for you guys. I got to share the screen. Apologize for not having that at the ready. All right, here we go. All right, this is what PFF shared this weekend. Top 6 play callers per Eric Eager. Andy Reid, Kellen Moore, Byron Leftwich, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur. The McVay, Shanahan, McVay tree folks have to be happy. You got 3 of their folks up on this list. I know Justin's not here, but I can almost hear him because the person at number 2 is somebody he's talked about quite a bit, and seen this from several Cowboy fans as well. You guys' thoughts of Kellen Moore being 2? I have no issue with Andy being number 1, obviously. Well deserved. And I'd probably have to give Sean McVay 2. You just won a Super Bowl, man. You got to give respect where it's due, right? So for me, it'd probably be Andy, Sean, Kyle, Matt, Byron, and then Kellen. And honestly, I don't think it should be a top 6. It should just be a top 5 per what they have on this list. If you guys have other folks you think that should be on this list, feel free to hit the comment sections. Let me know, and we can see if I agree and or disagree, depending on who it is. But man, this was hilarious. If you guys are active Twitter users, the comment section to this, it was brutal. And Kellen Moore doesn't deserve that, nor did he deserve to be thrown onto this to start this conversation or generate the clicks for this conversation, or what have you. But yeah, man, he just doesn't belong in this group at this moment. Not to say he's a bad offense coordinator, but like 5 of these guys should be on this list. As of right now, he's the guy that definitely shouldn't be there. And obviously, one of the things that was in the comment section several times over was the last play the Cowboys had in their playoff loss to the Niners, where it was a quarterback draw and they ran out of time, couldn't spike it, and all that nonsense or what have you. But yeah, thought that was interesting and funny, so just wanted to share that with you guys. But man, it generated a conversation, right? So it did. The post did what it was supposed to do. However, just wasn't a good look there, man, at all. Wasn't a fan. All right. Other things going on this week. Go ahead and move this up here. We just wrapped the NBA Finals, right? Shout out to the Golden State Warriors for winning their 4th title. With this group, this core being Steph, Dre, Clay, Kerr, Iggy, probably Iggy's last run. So kudos to those guys. We've talked about that at length over the last week or what have you, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But just a reminder that the doors officially shut. I think they had the championship parade yesterday. Doors officially shut on the 21-22 season. 22-23 season is literally here in a couple days, man. All right, Brandon, so you want to jump straight into it. All right, let's go. We must trade with the Kings for 4. Jaden Ivey, what is your trade package? I'm not sure we can pay Kuzma once he hits free agency. Yeah, I don't mind the trade up. Me personally, I like Dyson Daniels here better at the 1. I do like Jaden Ivey, but I mean, I'm not mad at it. Why not? You have some assets. You do what you have to do. Um, I'm not but again, like the biggest, like we were talking about last year, with the Wizards, man. Like the biggest thing for them is, regardless of what you end up doing here, like we don't know what we know. Three is probably going to sign his deal, right? It's just a matter of, is he signing to stay or is it just a delayed signing trade? We don't know what it's going to eventually turn into, but yeah, man. Depending on what you can get back, depending on how much it doesn't cost in terms of what you're willing to give up. I mean, go ahead and do it. I like Ivy. I don't know if it's like, look, I don't know. We'll get a chance to see what Washington ends up doing. But yeah, I know a lot of Washington fans like Ivy, as do I. My preference, just personal preference, means nothing. If you're trying to get trying to get someone to play the one, I like Dyson Daniels a little bit more. Obviously, because of the size, he just feel a little bit more like a natural facilitator. But again, nothing's wrong with Jaden Ivey, man. A lot of fans like him. A lot of teams like him as well. And then I'm happy you brought this up because it kind of brings it into something I was going to say. I expect this offseason to be kind of crazy. You got a lot of teams in very interesting situations, right? Where you're going into the draft, the free agency, and not a bunch of teams have a ton of cap room, right? And then if you look at the free agent market, you got most of your top folks in the free agent market have player options. So probably going to lead to some more sign and trade type things, or folks trading to make room to create space to sign folks outright. So yeah, I think Thursday is going to be kind of nuts from a trade perspective. There's just so much noise. You got teams that want to trade. Then other thing, you got some bad teams who have ended up with good draft position, right? But they have several players on their team. Like the Hornets come to mind, right? For instance, they have a couple players on their team who have it's time for rookie extensions. Because of that, what you might have to pay. I don't know if you want to stay in that spot and select someone. Do you want to trade down? Do you want to make room? Like, I don't know, man. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens Thursday. Not only just Thursday, too, because free agency is the following week. Just how this, starting with we're 2 days away, 48 hours from the draft. What have you? Starting with the draft, just how crazy things get. You talk about with Washington, what they're going to do with Brad. If Brad stays, no issue, whatever. Again, definitely expect him to sign it. If it is a sign and trade, where does he go? How does that change? If it is a sign and trade, do you make that deal on draft day? Or are those, like you're talking about, if you want to move up with the Kings, are those two separate deals? I don't know. Again, that's why I can't wait to see how things play out. Then you got other teams where, like what's some of the noise? We saw some of the noise yesterday with, with Kyrie and Brooklyn. We all know that, he has a player option. He can opt in to see how that goes. Because what team in their right mind after last year would willingly just hand somebody a 5-year max with no issues, knowing how last year played out in terms of the availability factor, right? So if it really is more than just like a PR blast just to get talks going or to gauge interest, what Shams put up yesterday, if it's anything more than that, there's legit smoke behind it. How does that factor into things, right? Some of the teams that are rumored to be interested, we saw Lakers, Clippers, Knicks, saw this trade that was making its way around, the morning shows yesterday where, AD and Russ for Kyrie and Ben. I mean, it sounds crazy and nuts. I don't know about all that happening, but I really do think it's gonna be several, I won't say blockbuster, but just kind of wild trades, man. Like even with Portland, Dame wants to be there, all that other stuff. That's great. Do they choose to move on from him and go on a different route, or do they try to package some assets together, including think they got a top 10 pick and move some things and go get somebody? That's why it's literally going to be so interesting. And even with the cap space, right? I wanted to get this up here for you guys real quick because it's going to be weird offseason. Again, a lot of teams don't have a bunch of money. Trying to get this up for you guys as well. So I like it when you guys can look at what I'm looking at. So not just me talking into the void at times. Look, here we go with cap space. The cap, you got projected cap space. The Pistons have some money, which is interesting. Also, they have a player that several people are interested in Jeremy Grant. We heard Jeremy Grant might get moved last year. He didn't. Who knows if he gets moved in draft day, if it happens before free agency, or if he gets moved at all. But Detroit has that luxury. And unlike some teams, they'll have a little bit of space. Again, projected cap space. The Spurs have 22. The Pacers have 25. Excuse me. And they got some folks. I'm sure you guys saw the reports yesterday about Miles Turner possibly being on the move, which is huge. There's a lot of teams that could use a center. We think about the deal Dallas did real quick recently to acquire Christian Wood. Who knows? Had they waited a little bit, maybe they would have been in the Miles Turner sweepstakes or whatever ends up happening with DeAndre Ayton. Or did they just not want to go that route, period? Because maybe the asking price. We'll see what the price gets to for those guys. But, if you do move Miles, depending on what you get back, get a little bit more room. The Trailblazers, 21 mil. Yeah, man, it's Orlando has money, obviously, but we know where Orlando is in terms of you're thinking about contenders and whatnot. They got quite a ways to go. Yeah, I don't know. All right. My bad, Brandon just saw this. Would you pay Rui his rookie extension, let him go? So then we should keep Kuzma, Denny Kispert. I would keep Rui because I still think there's a lot with Rui that Washington hasn't really gotten out of him yet. Like last year or whatever, right? Because of him joining the team late. We all know the reasons as to why. He was still pretty effective last year. Like we've seen him improve. Talking about especially with the three ball. He also gives them, him being able to score in the mid range. I truly feel like if they could get more of I don't want to say traditional, but just like a natural facilitator, because Rui's not a guy that like goes out his way to call for the ball. More of a natural facilitator where they know he has it going and they can keep feeding him, because right now they don't have a natural facilitator on their roster. But yeah, I personally, man, I'm not letting that go. I wouldn't at all. I would definitely pay him his extension. I think Rui's going to be one of those guys. And if you guys, I know you've been a Wizards/Bullets fan, depending on your age, how long you have been one. I think Rui's like literally a classic case of one of those guys where, oh man, you let him go and then he's really going to become what he could become somewhere else. Why even risk that, right? What's going on, Kirksey? Appreciate you. Yeah, I would just be patient in that regard. Unless you end up getting like a legit big time wing that's ready to go, I'm not messing with it. And what I mean is like, if you were swinging something where you're getting Paul George, you're getting Kawhi Leonard, like something of that magnitude, then cool. By all means, do what you have to do. Love Rui to death, but that's the thing that takes you from where you are to bring you, accelerate you from, hey, maybe we can make the playoffs to, hey, we should be in the playoffs. Maybe we can knock somebody off and make a run, right? Or depending on the quality of what you can get in the package that's in it. If you can get one of those guys, like we've talked about those guys, and we all know the level of those guys, then yeah, man, you put what you have to put in and you figure out the rest later. But anything short of that, no, I'm not moving them at all. Because again, like, hate to keep harping on this, but what's it called? 2 years ago, that team looked like it was built for somebody else. That person got traded, brought in another point guard, and of course, he was very productive in the way he went out of business, but it's just a little bit different. Again, natural facilitator with this group. I think they start to get the most out of this group, especially like we saw a lot of times last year, like even with, Wes's offense. I don't think we got a great example to see what it looks like because they don't have. They're missing that facilitator, like not a secondary playmaker. Like just they need a facilitator, and they need one bad. Put everybody in the right spots. Get the spacing correct. Get the ball to where it needs to go, when it needs to get there. Someone to be able to control the pace of the game, things of that nature. They need that bad. But yeah, to answer your question once again, I'm not letting them go unless I could get it. It's in a package to get me one of those guys where we shoot up to like the top half of the East, right? And I mean, we like if Washington, in their mindset, then yeah, I would put him in a deal, but I wouldn't mess with that. I wouldn't throw him anything, especially if it's just lateral. Like, because if it's somebody who's like around the same level as him, but just might be a bigger name, what are we really doing here, right? Get rid of a good young player for nothing. Again, looks like the classic Wizards player that if you moved on, will go somewhere else that's functional and hit the ground, run, take off, and you'd be like, damn, well, we drafted him, but here we are, right? So yeah, like I was saying, draft day trades, expect quite a few. I think there's going to be more signing trades than expected. Like I was just talking about, showing you guys like the cap space chart, and obviously that's something that's fluid, always moving. But yeah, man, I don't know how that's going. I can't wait to see how things play out. Like even looking at the what's it called? Looking at the top of the draft, like those first top 10 picks, those first 10 picks. We have no idea. We know how the first three may go. We don't know exactly how it's gonna go. Detroit's very interesting because they can. We don't know what they want to do, and they have things that they have some pieces they can move. Right? They're interesting in that regard. I know saw some noise about Terrence Ross or Orlando. He low key put in a trade request or wanting let it known that he would like to continue his career elsewhere. So that's another player on the board in terms of somebody who may be moved. Biggie Steve said we need Johnny Davis. You want him that high? Again, like I have no issue with him at all. Just for me, like if you get Johnny Davis and then you find your way into getting a facilitator later, cool. Just all I know by the time that offseason, by the time you go into training camp next year, you gotta have a solution at the one. You have to have a solution at the one. You want to take him at 10? Again, no, my preference. Tis what it is. I don't run anything over there. Again, there's several people I like. I like Sharp. I'm fine with Davis. But they need a facilitator. Need one pretty bad. Doesn't mean you can't draft Davis at 10, get a facilitator via trade somewhere, right? Doesn't mean that at all. I just know that they need one. Again, whatever happens this offseason, need to enter training camp for the next year with a solution at the one. That's all I know. He said he's a Jaden Ivey stopper. Again, like I have no issues with. There's going to be a lot of players you guys suggest. I truly don't have an issue with the player's talent or even maybe their fit. Just my biggest issue is coming in here in terms of what this team needs more than anything. What I feel about Otto and Gary Payton second getting the championship is a poor reflection on the Wizards. Do they use him as intended? I can't help but think Otto would be perfect now. Again, and it's something not the I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. You can't even compare it honestly, just because of you got a very, 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 very you got two organizations at opposite ends of the spectrum, right? I don't think you could I think it's not fair to Washington compare their organization, how they go about their business to how Golden State goes about their business, right? Because of Otto's injuries and whatnot, we know Otto's had his paydays, especially here, moved to Chicago. The things Chicago didn't work out great because of his injuries. So, Golden State was able to get in on the ground floor with him where it's a vet minimum or what have you. Gary Payton II, again, like his value there is a little bit different than here because of what they have in place. All those things, like a lot of the things we're talking about that this place needs, they have those things already, which makes it easy. right? Which makes it easier to bring in folks, and the roles they would play there are a lot different than the roles they may be asked to play, like somewhere like here, right? Um, he said Brad said he doesn't mind playing the one, and Johnny. Yeah, like I'm cool. That's great that Brad said that. I don't want Brad playing the one. Like I'm not a fan of it. That's me personally. That's what Washington wants to do. That's their business, and I wish them the best in that. But again, like if that's what they want to do, then by all means, that opens the door for a whole different type of group of folks at the two that they could go get, right? But again, that's their choice. If that's how they want to go, let them go. I wish them the best if that's the direction they wish to go, man. But again, for me personally, I don't like that at all. I think Brad, when he was at his best, facilitator, Brad off ball, killing. And now we know he could do a little bit more, obviously, with the ball in his hands. But again, I think they need a natural facilitator. I don't work for them. I don't get paid by them, so I have no idea what they're gonna do. It could be Brad at the one. I know I saw Tommy's quote. I think was it from yesterday as well, that they could put Brad at the one, and again, if they feel comfortable enough to do it, so be it. If that could be the answer, that's cool too. But again, the biggest thing for them, got to figure that out. Now, if that's what they doing, you take Davis at what you call. You talk about taking Davis at 10, take Davis, Sharp, etc. Whoever you want to take at the 2 to play next to him, that's great. Again, just got to see how the rest of the roster works out. What they end up doing with the rest, if there's any further moves after that. But again, that's why I think I'm very interested to see how things play out. Not only just Thursday night on draft night, but the following days we get closer to free agency and whatnot as well. But again, appreciate all you guys with the comments. Keep them going if you guys have them. I think maybe you got in here a little bit later. Biggie Steve, I'm a huge Dyson Daniels fan. Like if it was me personally, if they can get him at 10, that's love. If they got to move up to get him, I'm cool with that too, depending on what they have to give up. I think he would be perfect in terms of, I'm not saying perfect like he's about to set the world on fire, but in terms of being what they need at the one. Like I think I like that fit there. That's just me personally. But I don't know if he'll be there at 10, right? So that's the thing. Maybe they got to move up a couple spots. But that's something where you won't see until you won't know or see until draft night. For all we know, he could slip. I know the year that they got Denny, they didn't expect Denny to slip to him, right? So, it happens year after year. You have guys fall that shouldn't fall. Maybe he does, or maybe he goes a little bit higher than people projected him to go. So we'll see. Sorry about that, but yeah, that was definitely somebody. Biggie Steve, I mentioned a little earlier. Like that, that's my preference. But again, my preference has nothing to do with anything in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's just thoughts at this point. Let me see what I got next. Who's my top 3? Probably the guys that are going top 3, right? I'm cool with all 3 of those guys. Are you talking about top 3 overall in this draft or top 3 for Washington? I guess is my better question. So if you don't mind, my bad, Biggie Steve. Just a little bit more clarification, and I got you on that. Let me pull up something so I can get some names for you too, because I don't have them off the top of my head, man. I wish I could tell you I did, but I don't. And I definitely don't. Again, thank you all for tuning in, man. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. We'll be here every morning this week, though. So yeah, Biggie Steve, just let me know, man. The entire draft is just for Washington. Oh, top 3 for Washington. Man. How about to put me through it today, huh? I think Dyson's my favorite. The only reason I'm not saying Ivy's because I don't think Ivy's going to be there at all. Um, I like Dyson. I like Sharp. Um, and honestly, probably your boy Davis for them. Not gonna lie, it's probably those three. If they move up and get Ivy or whatever, obviously, I have no issue with it. But those will probably be the guys I'm cool with. Again, that's just me personally. Um, that they should have a shot at getting, and then could help them in that area, right? In some shape, fashion, or form. The thing I like about the three of them is tools where I should be able to help on the defensive end, but most importantly, be able to move the ball. And again, like I just want Brad off the ball a little bit more, make things easier for him. But we shall see, man, how that thing ends up working out. What else we got? Oh, a little bit of NFL news real quick. The Eagles picked up Jaquiski Tartt, formerly a safety of the 49ers. I've been a Kwaski fan since he's been in San Fran. Happy for the Eagles. The only thing wrong with Kwaski is just the health. If you can keep him healthy, you got one of the better safeties in the league that nobody really knows about just because, doesn't do too much. Not doesn't do too much, but doesn't get enough notoriety, right? But I do know San Fran has had a good defense for several years. He's been a part of several of those groups. There's a distinct difference in terms of, sometimes you don't notice folks until they're gone. Yeah, it's a totally different team when he wasn't there, when he was absent, games that he missed. So I think it gives Philly somebody who could definitely cover, should give them a leg up in that division. We'll see how things go. To me, Sharp is a mystery. I'm not sure I'm going to get with him. I think Sharp's one of those guys where it's like, I really feel like it's kind of weird. Like, some Kentucky guys, like folks are either like if you go to Kentucky, right? Folks are like all the way in, or not even if you go to Kentucky, if you're supposed to go to Kentucky or whatever it may be, right? Some folks are all the way in on you early, and they're like think the world of you, and other folks, they're kind of like down on, and then they get to the league, and the folks you were down on sometimes are better than the folks everyone was high on. Again, I like him. I think he'll be okay. Obviously, be growing pains, but no matter who you take, but yeah, I think I like him just as an option, right? Again, someone who could defend, he can shoot, and again, you're not asking whoever you bring in to save the world. Just hey, man, if you can, do your best to run the team. And if you gotta, that's what coaching's for. Sometimes if you can't get someone who played the one order of life, but if they can't play make, yeah, man, slide them there and get them there. Like you have, if Brad's here, you have an all-star, you have an all-star backcourt mate. Like you can be okay. You don't have to carry the load from a scoring end. So, but most importantly, if you could guard that position well, huge. But yeah, Daniels. Sharp, I like Davis. Obviously, Ivy's. If he's there, I don't think he's going to be there. But yeah, man. I think Washington has some options, just depending on if they think they're who they want can fall to them, or if they got to go up and try to get them. I think that's just going to be the biggest thing there for them, right? But I definitely get what you're saying in terms of him being a mystery. But yeah, I'm not too bothered by some of it. Some folks, if they could play, they could play. Regardless of what all the noise is around them going into the draft. There's been many good folks. I remember how folks were talking about y'all remember when Book was drafted? Like the way folks talk about Book now is like legitimately the opposite of how they talked about him when he came out. So just something to keep in mind. And not saying that Sharp is about to be Devin Booker, just saying there's multiple folks have come out of Kentucky, and everybody's not, touted at the level that AD was when they came out of there. And, they're still good. But yeah, I think that's all I really got for today. Again, stick around for a couple more minutes if you guys got anything else before I get out of here. As a reminder, always, get over to FocusTV.com and follow the Focus on your social media mediums. We'll have this week's The Focus TV episode. What is it? What's it going to be this week? I think it's season 5, episode 33. That'll be out tomorrow morning. I'll also be here tomorrow morning, but that'll be out tomorrow morning on our Roku channel. And then figure out what we're going to do with the draft. I know Friday morning we're going to be talking draft heavy, so I'm not writing anything down. Just going to be going over the draft. Look forward to you guys with the questions and where you guys want to take the conversation. But again, be back tomorrow morning. We usually get started. Shoot for 9:30 some mornings. I'm not a morning person. Some mornings it's closer to 9:45 or 10. But between that window is usually when we get started with you guys. Usually you guys dictate how long I'm going to be here. Got a few scripted topics every morning after that. It's up to you guys to steer the conversation where you want to go. So, to those that commented this morning, and Brandon Hunter, Michael Kirksey, Biggie Steve, appreciate you all. Hope to see you guys tomorrow morning and continue this conversation. If y'all want to get a little bit more draft heavy tomorrow morning, man, I'm all for that. Would you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday? And I'll see you guys soon.